All right, we have a couple people in the room. I want to make sure I'm being heard and the audio is working. If you are here, hey there, Gino. I see you're here. Can you hear me okay? Is my microphone working okay? If so, just say yes or something. I see your text. And Kirby, greetings to you, Kirby. Hey, your name was mentioned today, by the way. Okay, good. Lindsay, thank you very much. Gene, thank you very much. Okay, Kirby, what I was saying, yeah, that who was talking about that? Oh, it was Chip Romero. Chip was talking about the Doug Henning and some of the stuff that you had purchased back when you were in Branson. And anyhow, so yeah, he had finished that. Yes, Tom Gentile, it is Thursday. It is Maundy Thursday, I guess. Is that Maundy Thursday? And tomorrow is Good Friday, and then we get into Easter. I had forgotten that Easter was coming up over here so quickly. So I am here. Hold on, let me see if I can bring me into the rest of this. This is kind of cool. You can hear the music I've got in the background. Since we had first started doing this is something that they didn't have before. It was just a little music in the background. So kind of get things started. Let me just kind of get that and move around something. And where are we? And there we are. Greetings. Hello from Austin, in Austin, Texas. Yeah, hey, I'm wearing a very special shirt over here today. I thought you guys might enjoy this. And Jim Kaler. Hey, Jim. Good seeing you when I was back home in Salem then, too. So this shirt I got just in honor of these Thursdays. It's one of those things I got on Facebook. You see these Facebook ads all the time. Let me stand up so you can kind of get a better gander at this. Get the whole thing in over there. It's just kind of cool, front and back over there. What do you think of that? Is that kind of cool or what? So, yeah, saw that one of those Facebook ads, and I thought, okay, oh yeah, this is the badge for the convention that we've got over here for the Esther's Follies was where we went then last evening. And of course, picture then of Ray Anderson then as well on this. That is what the poster looks like. Then Ray had a presentation that he gave today talking about Esther's, and then he gave everyone in attendance a poster that was designed especially for this convention. And then we had Chip Romero, who this afternoon had then also given a presentation. In his case, he gave one then on Doug Henning, and he gave away a poster, which was really cool. It was an original Doug Henning window card, which he said normally sells for $35, and by me giving these away to everyone in attendance has significantly reduced the value, I guess, of those things then as well. So Mark Rich, hey Mark. Okay, good. The audio is good. I wondered about that. Thank you. And you're in Georgia, and let's see, got Jeff Davis in here. Thanks a lot for coming in then too. And I said, yeah, hello to Tom, Lindsay, appreciate that. And Kirby, okay, so got a few people in the room over here right now. And I guess, kind of jumped the gun just a little bit. Hey, Jim Hathey there also. Thank you very much. And Dan Sclair is in here. So thank you very much, Dan, from Ellington, Connecticut. And you're welcome for the book. I'm glad that it worked. Come on over here, Fred. I am, congratulations, Fred. I start to say Fred. Fred King's here right now. But Dan Sclair was one of the people who had won a copy of the book from the contest. It's like, what, did you enter the contest also? Were you for the Seventh Heaven book?
No, I didn't hear, but I just saw the
one who won.
The Follies. For a question.
Okay. Now I'm talking about for the podcast. You didn't? Okay. Yeah. All right.
I'm a few episodes behind.
Few behind. That's okay. I ran this for 3 weeks because I was thinking people might be running a little bit behind. I'm talking off camera to a friend of the Magic Word over here, and that would be Fred King, and he is right over there. He is. Yeah, we're kind of in the sun, aren't we? And so he's in California, and
I'm not anymore.
Where are you?
I relocated to Reno, Nevada.
And how do you like that?
I'm loving it so far.
Mm-hmm.
I really am. And you know who my real estate agent was?
Hold on, let me give you a microphone so that way people can hear who your real estate agent was. Don't tell me it was Mia. Hold on. There we go. You got a microphone then now. Okay. So now, Fred King. Now you can hear him a little bit better, perhaps. Just moved to Reno.
Just moved to Reno, bought a new house there, and my
Ray
real estate
Wilson?
agent was Ginger Kalen.
No kidding.
Yep.
Wow.
Yep. Mark and Ginger lived up in Reno for 22 years, and I ran into her. Sean McMaster and I were at the castle when they were in the palace, and we went backstage and chatted it up. And I learned they were in Reno. I said, I'm looking to relocate there. Ginger said, oh, I'm now a real estate agent on top of everything else. And it was a beautiful experience. And found the house that checked all the boxes.
How do you know that she was a real estate agent? Did she contact, or how do you know that?
I didn't. I knew that they lived in Reno. So I just happened to mention backstage. And I said, I'm looking to relocate to Reno. And she said, strangely enough,
I can help you out.
Yes. So
how cool is that?
Fantastic. Yeah.
and
you know Phil Ackerley?
I do know Phil Ackerley.
You know that Phil Ackerley just sold his house in Northern California, and he just moved to Reno in January.
I saw that because he had pictures on Facebook of his new house as well, and I didn't know that it was Reno where he had moved.
Yeah. So he's about 20 minutes north of me.
Which is closer than he was to you in California,
yeah,
sure.
Very much so. So little catch up there.
Yeah, well, congratulations, new homeowner then too. So, hey, Kent. So come and say hi.
Anyone wants to go to Reno? I know a good real estate agent, and she works magic. So
that's awesome. And so now we got Kent Cummins over here then too, and
I'll switch out and let Kent sit down.
So yeah, just sit down for just a second. Have a seat then, Kent. And we've got we're live right now. We've got a few people who are online over there, and and he said Dan Sclair says she should find a house for Rich Gilbert. It was Rich. I guess Rich Gilbert's been moving to. There as well. And Jim Hathey's from Ashtabula, Ohio. So anyhow, we have then with us in right now, we're here, Kent Cummins. I just stopped at his fantastic, I keep saying fantastic. It was fantastic. Your Magic Center. Is it called a Fantastic Magic Center?
Fantastic Magic
I got
Center.
it right. Okay, because I just chatted with Kent yesterday, a couple days ago now. Boy, time flies. For an upcoming episode. Kent is past president of the TAOM, and he has just celebrating 72 years in magic. Is that right?
That's true.
Yeah. Started when you're 9 years old.
Six.
When you're 6 years old. Okay.
Yep.
Wow. Okay. I don't want to make you older than you are.
That's all right. I want to keep getting older than I am.
But also had worked with the Fantastic Magic Camp that for a long number of years, about 22 years.
Indeed. Started that in 1993, the year I turned 50.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I use fantastic all the time the way Eric from the Ransom Center uses extraordinary. Did you notice in his presentation, he can't actually say a sentence without saying extraordinary?
It was extraordinary.
But it's because everything he touches is extraordinary.
Yeah.
I don't know of another word that describes it any better.
Explain to people what it was that you saw that he presented.
Oh, Eric is I guess the theater director.
Curator or something?
Of the Ransom Center. The Ransom Center opened in 1972. I know that because I opened a sandwich shop in Dobie Mall across the street from the Ransom Center, and we were doing work. We were selling sandwiches there while it was under construction and before it actually got opened. But back in the day, UT did not take care of its Houdini collection. They didn't care about it. It was really pretty awful. And what Eric has done is brought a love of magic to the theater arts collection. And now, I mean, anything you would want from a magic museum, Eric is working on and making it happen. It's extraordinary.
It is extraordinary.
Or as I would say, it's fantastic.
And what I especially appreciated was his great love of magic came through. And then he came out and said, I don't know a single trick. I'm not a magician. I have no interest in it, but I've grown to love magic. And that really came across in that presentation.
Yeah, that passion. It's
right.
Wonderful.
Because the museum itself, let me just say they have other things. For an example, they have one of 5 Gutenberg Bibles in the world that is on display that you can go and see at any time there then too, permanent display. And they have the most Houdini ephemera, I think. Now, they don't have a lot of 3D or type of things to see, like
It's the paper,
it's all the paper. Yeah, exactly.
the posters and the playbills and the newspaper articles and the magazine articles, and it's amazing. I happen to also really love the paper, the ephemera, the memorabilia, more than the props. So
When I
love
was
that.
visiting your museum, I thought it was interesting that you were quoting what Copperfield said, "I'm not collecting."
Well, Copperfield, in an interview with the Skeptical Inquirer, the interviewer was saying, "It's incredible the amazing stuff you have in your museum," and Copperfield acknowledged that, yes, I've been able to accumulate some amazing stuff, but it's not about the stuff; it's about the stories.
Right.
And to me, that's
True.
I'm so glad that someone at Copperfield's level feels that way.
And recognizes that. And that's kind of what we're celebrating this weekend over here.
That's exactly what we're celebrating this weekend.
We've got like 150 people who are in attendance here, registered for this convention. And they are not just a bunch of old people like us, or me, but they are a lot of collectors of different ages who collect a variety of things. And of course, they've got some magic dealers in there if you want to start your collection of whatever that might be that could interest you. That's pretty fantastic or extraordinary as far as the collection that they've
But
got.
not everybody is a collector. Even though this is called the Collectors Expo, it's for people who love the art, the preservation, the history of magic. And so I talked to Richard today, who said, I said, what are you looking for? He says, I'm not really looking for anything. I'm a historian. I love the history of magic.
Richard who?
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
He just said he was Richard.
Okay.
I have his business card somewhere. I can find out what his last name was.
I thought maybe it was Richard Pitchford or Randy Pitchford or Richard Hatch or somebody.
No, I would have recognized Richard Hatch.
Yeah.
No, but so he's here because he loves the history of magic, and so he looks at the posters and he learns about the posters, and he must have loved the presentation about the sawing in half, because that's all about the history of the illusion.
Well, speaking of sawing, that was one of the things right now, I think, as we're talking. Or they finished?
They just finished.
Okay, just finished. That Mike Caveney has been giving a presentation. Of course, he just finished the book on sawing, and he's here, and he's selling that. And also, was chatting with Kathy Daniel.
Mm-hmm.
Who is the widow of John Daniel. And I was not as familiar with John. He told me yesterday that how big John Daniel was. Apparently, he must have had some big show. Did you ever see him?
I never.
I think it was out the West Coast, kind of a thing.
Yeah, I wasn't aware of it at all.
But he was on
either.
television, and they were showing like he was Orson Welles.
Orson Welles, and a big stage show down in
Miami
Florida, I
with
think, and all that. So he was all over.
Jackie Gleason. So we should have known who he was.
We
but
certainly should.
It was a window in time. I think it was just kind of a short period that he was there. I feel kind of naked without a martini or something, but the bar said they'll open at 5. So we still got, I don't see the bartender here. We got about 15, 16 minutes before we get started then too. Let's see. Dan Sclair then said also, Rich loves ginger. Said Rich Gilbert was looking for a house over there. And Luke Dancy, good seeing you, buddy. Glad that you were here. Stephen Maxtrogi then says Houdini's, let's see what I say. Boy, love letters from Bess. Actually, that was something. Steve, you were talking about the love letters from Bess. He, that is Eric, Dr. Caleri yesterday, was talking about they just have a treasure trove of these love letters.
Yeah, he said we have a ton of these love letters from Houdini to Bess, and that interested me because I have a giant blow up of one covering almost one wall of my museum. My grandmother never threw anything away, so I think I come by it honestly. My dad's mom. But I can remember being a little kid in my grandmother's house and just going through old stacks of magazines and newspapers looking for anything that had a magic theme. So I've always, even as a kid, I've always collected the magic stuff. If it was an ad for magic, for Camel cigarettes, or if it was an article about Blackstone, who I saw at the Majestic Theater there in San Antonio, or if it was an article about love letters from Houdini.
Yeah.
And so the date on it, I don't remember what the date is, but it's before I started doing magic stuff. But it's a big article from the newspaper, from the San Antonio newspaper, actually, that quotes one of Houdini's love letters. And then I had it blown up when you mentioned I was past president of TAOM.
Right.
We put those on display in 1983. We had made arrangements with the Ransom Center to show off the Houdini collection, and then they backed out and said they wouldn't do it. And so we had to create our own Houdini collection for the 1983 TAON.
I tend to recall that way back when. Another thing I thought was interesting, because of the magnitude of the collection they have at the Ransom Center, they said so far they have only cataloged or digitized 5%.
5%.
Of that. So it's just an ongoing thing.
And that's thousands of pages of stuff.
Yeah.
5%.
Pretty amazing. Let's see. I had another comment over there. Thank you, Steve, for that. Yeah. Trino says, have a blast. We are having a blast. We're having a lot of fun here then, too. And we'll have more fun whenever that the alcohol comes shortly. But talking a little bit about the convention. Speaking of which, there was Richard Cohen. Hey, Richard.
Hey, how are you?
We're just having a little. Here, you want to hand him the microphone for a second? Is this the Richard?
That's
you
the
were
Richard.
talking about? Okay. We were just talking about
me
you.
again.
That's
The
right.
Richard.
Have a microphone.
Okay.
I was
Thank
talking
you very
about
much,
the fact
Ken.
that not everybody here is primarily a collector. For example, I met Richard, who's primarily a historian.
That's true. I was even called a goddamn historian.
Yeah.
Thank you, Kent. Let me just put
So Richard Cohen is the expert on Coney Island.
and Brooklyn and New York, who I like to think.
And
Coney
what?
Island, Brooklyn and New York.
Brooklyn and New York,
because I'm
in
from
general.
Brooklyn.
Okay.
Coney Island's in Brooklyn.
Okay. And also Alf Losso and all things related to that,
Yes.
basically.
Yep.
Okay.
I had to pipe up a little bit during the Flosso presentation because it was
It was Huber's.
Huber's, not Hubert's. Those were two different.
Really? There was one with a T and one without. So it was.
That's correct, in different locations.
Okay. Interesting. I do notice, by the way, that you're missing something, and that is you don't have the right kind of name badge lanyard. You see, the problem is that spins around. You need to have something that keeps that to the forefront. So you need, and that actually the badge.
Set me up.
I will. The badge is made this way, so this way that with the holes in there, so that you can.
You know, you are absolutely right. As I put this piece on, I'm going, this wasn't designed for this.
No, it's not.
Wells, would
Yes.
it be okay for me to
Please
switch
do.
to this?
Yeah, sure. There you go, sir.
Thank you.
Now you're all set up.
Oh,
you got
right.
the right. Now you're. Well, I thought you had one, of course. Well, you're my buddy.
All
You're my
right.
friend of the magic word.
Friend magic word number
6. Yeah. Fred goes back for a while.
Got the certificate to back that up. Thank you very much.
And so, yeah, that's why I brought a few more over here. I talked to him, to Bill Smith beforehand, and he had said that he was, or he didn't get my email apparently, because I said, hey, look, I've got some of these for the convention. We'll put in the packets. And then I asked him when I got here, he said, I never got your email. It's like, okay, well, I brought some anyhow. I can give out to everybody.
Thank you.
Then too. Yeah, you're welcome. Briefly.
I'm going to give you a present, though.
Okay.
Does that happen much when you do
No.
this thing?
Well, people occasionally will buy me a drink, but they don't.
I do that too. But since we were talking about Coney
Yeah,
Island,
Coney
I
Island, yes,
mentioned
sir.
Brooklyn. This is
Yeah.
a little booklet
Wow.
culled from articles in the old Brooklyn Eagle, which was a newspaper
Brooklyn Magicians.
around for a long time. The book was designed, I'm going to just give it a little plug for a second,
Yeah.
by Bill Brecker, who's an old friend of mine, and Charlie Reynolds. Bill designed the Salon de Magie book for
Bill
Ken
Brecker,
Klosterman,
right
a
there,
couple
yeah.
other things. So it's dedicated to Bill, who did the layout. We culled these stories, and then some of the illustrations are from my collection, and in a few cases, other folks were kind enough to let us do some of these prints.
Mhm.
But just a little magic history gift. for you,
Wow.
Scott.
Well, thank you, and I appreciate that. I am going to. You're going to need to perhaps sign this for me then too, and it includes
you would
Magic
like.
at Coney Island then too.
Well, the middle chapter is particularly about something at Coney Island. That's why they sell these at the gift shop at the Coney Island Museum.
they do?
Yes, they
Okay.
do. You don't have to pay me. It's a gift.
Thank you. Thank you very
Yes,
much.
the middle section
So there's Brooklyn Magicians. I'm looking for the middle section over here. Did I pass it already?
the middle article is about Baron Hartwig's seaman at the ocean. Here it is, Coney Island.
Oh, Magic at Coney Island. Okay.
Once again, this is an old article reprinted, but it's about Baron Hartwig Seaman, who was a well-known scenic artist in the day, as well as being one of the top magicians. And Mr. Feltman, who many people credit with inventing the hot dog, went from having a cart of hot dogs and
Yeah.
piano rolls to having quite a large restaurant, dance hall, and theater.
Yeah.
And he brought over this fellow, Baron Hartwig Seaman, to design the theater and then be the first act. So that's what that little article is.
What I hear
Interesting.
about Coney Island,
Yeah.
they've got those two faces from Coney.
Oh, that's great stuff.
Vodka and
Coolness.
dry. No olive juice, but
This
I would
one
like
looks-
lime, lemon. Sorry, with a twist of
Philadelphia
lemon.
Toboggan Company.
So in other words, vodka martini with a twist of lemon. Thank you.
My pleasure.
Have they opened yet?
Right?
Okay, we're getting
Old-time
close.
stuff.
Getting
You
close.
got 'em.
So
If we push
this
them, will they
is
laugh?
interesting. See who else over here. Then Steve says, "Oh, Stephen Max Drogi says hello,"
Hey, Max.
and Tom Gentile says, "Cool." You know Tom? Is
Oh, yeah,
president?
Tom
Yep,
Gentile.
yep,
Yes,
yep,
good to see you,
He's here.
Tom.
Yep.
Wish you were here, as they say.
Yes, indeed. So yes, it to open here shortly. And so, how have you enjoyed the convention so far?
It's been fantastic.
Mhm.
It's been a great time. I've actually been in Austin for a couple of days beforehand
Okay,
over at the Harry Ransom Center.
researching a little
in the
bit
reading
more.
room. Yeah,
Yeah.
spending a goodly bit of time there.
But you've never been here before to see the Esther's Follies until
Well, that's two things you just said,
now. Okay.
Scott. I have been here before
Yes.
to Austin,
Yes.
but this is the first time that I've seen Esther's Follies,
Okay.
and that was fantastic. Ray does some great magic, and he's also a really good dancer.
Isn't he? Oh yeah. He was in the this afternoon session, and was Stan Allen. I guess Stan Allen had chatted with him, and he was saying about how that he also choreographs and directs this, because that's a little known thing that people didn't know he did.
It's a great job that he's doing because it takes a lot of work to do that kind of topical, satirical music, and then the choreography
Right.
and the props. I was also telling Ray that his accompanist is fantastic.
Right.
And I'm speaking as somebody who has done that job. I used to accompany Professor Bobby Baxter
Oh yes.
years ago.
Okay.
And so I know what that job of being an accompanist to a magician or a novelty act entails.
Right.
And the guy with Esther's Follies is exceptional. He's really good. I mean, the whole show is, they're all good. And
Yes.
that makes it a super show.
Right. In talking about this Brooklyn Magicians, by the way, if others would like to get a copy, are they available? Can you, like a
Yeah.
website or something?
And there's
that you
two ways. It's not on the website, but you can get it through the Coney Island Museum gift shop. And I think Byron Walker has got them also.
Oh, okay.
You all know Byron. right?
Sure. Yep. Okay. So they're available through there. So great.
Yeah.
Well, not everybody's going to be going to the Coney Island gift shop. They've got a website, surely, I would
They
imagine.
do have
So
a
you can
website, so you can buy
Probably
it.
Google
way
that
too.
and find
Yeah.
it that way. Then, yeah, that's great. Well, thanks, Richard. That's great.
My pleasure.
I've been enjoying the convention so far as well. You didn't come last year, were you there for the Copperfield?
No, I was not.
Okay, boy, that was awesome
Yep.
as well. Each year they tend to try to really top themselves with something.
I went to the Collectors Expo in Minneapolis. which
Yes,
is
I missed that
3
one.
years ago.
Okay.
That was a lot of fun.
Uh-huh.
Great time there. But Austin has been a great trip for me. So this is the first time that I'm seeing Esther's Follies. But on this trip here, I got to see some wonderful private collections here
Yeah.
in Austin.
Mhm.
And of course, this is the second time I've been to the Ransom Center, and it won't be the last
Okay.
because it's a deep well and it's hard to reach bottom.
Well, Austin it does have direct flights from New York, so you can probably come here more often.
Yeah, we're figuring out a way to do it.
Did you meet Eric, and you got to know him pretty well?
Oh,
So-
yes.
Okay.
No, Eric has been lovely. Actually, we're
Great
working on
guy.
a little documentary on magic history and the links of magicians
Yeah.
as far as, we have the Mike and the Stan with Long Beach Mystics.
Yeah.
I was a kid with the Imps in New York. So I'm still friends with some of the guys that I met when I was 11 or 12 years old.
That's amazing. Right. Wow.
So that's one of the things we're doing here today is covering this for a little history project. That
Is that what the video the
right here,
gentleman's
Patrick
doing right
Terry
here?
from City Data is working on
Okay.
that. Yeah.
That's great. And that's going to go where once he gets that completed?
We're not sure.
Okay. Just kind of putting it together and
We're getting
Looking
a lot
for-
of assets. We're shooting, we're photographing a lot of people. In this day and age, you can't use, I worked in the film business for 40 years. So it comes out of my mouth like swear words
Yeah.
and shoot.
I call it content.
Yeah.
lot of content.
We call it assets
Yeah, okay.
also because then the editorial process will happen later on.
Uh-huh.
But we've had George Schindler, the Dean of the Society of American Magicians, over to what we call the conservatory.
Yeah.
And we've got some good stuff with him. We've talked with some other folks here in Austin, with Brad Henderson and Brandon Hodges, who have some amazing collections. We've done a few other things in New York City. Been to the Houdini grave site in Queens with Fred Patella, who's a big collector for Houdini stuff. So I don't want to give away the whole shooting match, but
Yeah. Well,
It's gonna be
while
a
you're
lot
here
of
in
fun.
Austin, you should see Kent Cummins' collection then too.
I would love to, but that's going to be on the next trip.
Okay.
And it's very funny because George has said to me, "Oh, when you're in Austin, you got to see Kent Cummins."
Well, yeah.
And then in the dealer's room, there was Kent. So we got to chat a bit.
Yeah.
He made a great segue just before as I showed up here,
Yeah.
actually looking for another old friend of mine,
Uh-huh.
John Stetson, who I haven't
I
seen.
saw John briefly.
He's
this
here.
afternoon.
He's here.
Okay.
He's here.
Okay,
He's
good.
going to come down a little bit. We're going to catch up a bit. So that's one of the great parts of a
Yeah.
convention like this.
It is. You never know who's coming.
When we were in Abbott's
Yep.
summer, it was
last August.
summer.
Yeah.
Yeah. Same kind of thing. Seeing people that haven't seen in years.
Mhm.
In some ways, that was a theme. They had that panel thing with Lance and
Matt King.
and all the, and
I forgot. Fielding West and
but he was there. But the panel was all these guys who had been there.
Jeff
for
Hobson.
Jeff Hobson. So those three, Matt King, Jeff Hobson, and Lance, had been in the youth contest
Right.
at Abbott's
had a great story.
years and years
Yeah,
ago.
Yeah.
And I guess at that same convention, Kevin James was there.
Yeah.
France Harari was there. So once again, it's real continuity
Mhm.
for magicians. It's a funny thing. Years ago, I worked as lighting director on a documentary about Magic Camp.
Yeah.
And I was talking with Stan Allen from Magic Magazine here.
Yeah.
And we were upstairs, and all of a sudden we realized, oh, that's where we first met.
Oh.
I was doing the lighting on that video, and
Yeah.
Stan and I were there. And I think Mayor Yedid was the only instructor who knew that I was deeply involved in magic.
Right.
But Ron Yoshida, the producer, who was in my motion picture local, knew that I was into magic.
Right.
Figured, let me hire Richie because he'll get it.
Yeah.
And I like to think do a nice job lighting it.
Exactly.
But all those kids always said some of their friends from Magic Camp are friends for life.
That's
And they're
true.
your magic friends.
Speaking of John Stetson, there he is right over there then too. Hey, John.
Come here, John. Just talked about you.
That's right. Let me see what else we got. Mike Miller says Abbott's was a great convention. Yeah, that was. And then Max Rogia again says, I also want to. I was a competitor at Abbott's contest. Max asks, does Richard Garriout still have his museum or castle in Austin Hills? And John Allen asked, when is the month 2022? Well, you're talking about Abbott. It's going to be in early
I'll say it
August
again.
over here.
One of the reasons.
But as far as Richard
Yeah, I was
Garriout,
just
I
saying,
think he still has his
magic is a thing of
castle
passion.
out there. It's amazing, but he
And about
moved to
people
New
we
York. But I don't know if he
know for a long time
maintains
and
that
how we met.
still or not.
I was
But
saw Stan upstairs before, and we realized, as I was saying, when I was at Magic Camp,
You
somebody
go-
said that.
John's good to
Let's
see
John,
you
know
as
what?
well.
Come into the light a little
John
bit, John.
Stetson, yeah.
Come towards me,
Yeah,
John.
come in- yeah,
Get
he's
into the
got the
sunlight.
microphone
See?
right here.
Right. This is different. This is two
No, this
lights. Right. But get into the light, John.
I'm into the light.
Okay, you're into the light now.
I'm into the light. I'm into
You understand? I feel the heat upon my face. I know my light is in its place. Yeah, he's just some guy.
He's a
But
pro.
Yeah.
I'm just a guy.
John, you mind telling the folks when we met for the first time?
Let me get this so that way
Well-
he's got. Hold on. Get the mic a little bit closer then. There we go.
I certainly do remember
There you go.
What was our immediate bond? It was, I believe it was late night at one of the collectors, probably, or maybe
It
we
was
met.
earlier. We didn't
Yeah,
know
we
one
met.
another when we first
Yeah,
met.
we kind of circled. We were swimming in the same waters.
Yeah.
But we had so many of the same interests and the same friends. If you know what it is, so much of this stuff to me, it's like when there's a party going on and there's two little kids, and the little kids eventually find each other, and then just
Bond. Yeah.
just bond and
Right.
spend the day
Uh-huh.
there. That's us.
Yeah.
And our real love for old magic shops was the whole
Right.
was the whole thing. It's funny, not that I'm a prophet, but I wrote something years ago about the brick and mortar stores, really calling them endangered species.
Yes.
Right now, Richard, how about the smell? How about the smell of those old
Of an
places?
old magic shop?
Oh yeah.
Well, people don't smoke cigars anymore.
Oh, I
funny.
do. But
Yeah, you and I do. Like
yeah,
when we were in
like we were in
Cuba.
Cuba together. Oh yeah. But that and just that kind of musty smell, and and old book smell
Yep.
and stuff. I just get the kind of women I could attract if I wore a cologne called Old Book. None, no women whatsoever. Or
Right
men
now, you
are-
just smell like old man.
men already, yeah. Well, old man Steve, but that's a different story for a different day. Yeah, but that's what really brought us together, and just the passion for it all, the passion for all of this, and how incredibly wealthy we all are. We've been through so much lately,
Mm-hmm.
as society. I know you have personally,
And
you know
you.
I have
Yeah.
personally, and to have such a family, to have such an army around you who are merely waiting for marching orders.
Right.
I don't have blood family,
Mhm.
but I have this wonderful world that I
Extended,
grew up in.
extended family. Sure.
That I grew up in, and that I'm still with, and we can. Isn't it wild when you go over to your friend's house and you see all your stuff there? That's another great magic thing, It's like I see all my books in your house. Okay,
Yeah.
cool. I feel very much. No wonder we stay for weeks at a time. All our stuff is there.
It's already there. That's right.
Yeah, and just to catch up and to pick up, and as we all know, we'll find someone we've been at one of these things with 20 some years ago.
Yeah.
And the conversation picks up
It's like a Billy
exactly.
McComb conversation.
Of course, it's a continuous loop. Sometimes it's true. Fred Colbert invented the doll's house illusion years ago, and Fred didn't have a car, which is an interesting fact because he was also talking one day to Victor Ferrer. Now, Victor Ferrer, I knew he was a very interesting fellow too. But yeah. Anyway,
It's a continuous thing.
yeah.
You go to somebody's home like that. John and I think it was a NEMCA convention where we really linked up. But the strange thing is, we had met many, many years before
We met in an elevator.
in an elevator with Ali Bongo and Ali Bongo's mom.
Yes,
His mom too.
and
okay.
a very odd duck.
Oh, yeah. He used to work for them.
That's right. That's right.
In
It was
in
the
Boston
1974
Yeah.
SAM
convention.
convention, which was one of the greatest
Great.
bashes of all time. They broke the Boston club. That was when the local clubs were still involved in hosting,
Yeah.
before the
National
debacle
football,
that is now.
Yeah.
And it was, remember, everybody was there.
Everybody.
Everybody.
First time I ever saw Del Rey, and my jaw just I
And
couldn't
Fred,
pull my jaw
and
back
Fred
up.
Capps and the surprise acts, the acts that were not billed that were on. Remember, like the last Sunday afternoon, one of those acts was John Thompson, and I'm trying to think who the
An
other.
upcoming kid.
Oh yeah,
Oh,
yeah,
the cover, yeah.
yeah, yes,
But what happened was we got stuck in an elevator.
yeah.
So the
you got stuck
elevator
in
got
one.
stuck
We
in an
got
elevator
stuck in an elevator.
with Ali Bongo and his mom.
Yep.
And
And Mrs. Bongo turned to this guy, being such a proper,
English lady.
English lady. Oh, it's getting frightfully warm in here. And this guy's going down on this big bottle of
he's
soda,
got a
right?
big bottle of
Big
Coca-Cola.
bottle of. Would it be? So terribly awful if maybe I could just have a tiny sip of your drink. Well, I don't know. We might be in here for a while. It all came up like that.
Right.
And then it was years later, the story popped up somehow, and he goes, "You were in that." We talk about being there.
Yeah.
It's like Ted Williams was supposed to be my godfather, a friend of my dad's.
The
Baseball player.
Yeah, and
All together.
no, the gorilla trainer. Yeah, the baseball player. And they talk about his last home run at Fenway, his last at bat, and the seats. And so how many millions of people were there. But actually, I feel like one of those guys tonight because there's going to be a talk on that Magic for Africa show,
Oh, that's right.
and I'm going. I was there. Yeah.
Were you at that show?
Yeah, and
must have
so
been amazing.
I feel like and they couldn't sell 2 shows. I remember they could not sell. They wanted to do 2 shows that night.
Lance said they raised $20,000 for that show,
Yep.
which was quite a bit back then.
They
at the time.
condensed.
But look at the acts they had of Siegfried and Roy and Jeff McBride and Max Maven and
Doug Henning,
Doug Henning
Mark
was
Wilson.
It was hosted by Harry Anderson.
Yep, and it was the only no show was David
Lance
Copperfield.
Burton, yeah.
And the entire Siegfried and Roy cast
Mhm.
came on stage. There wasn't.
Wow.
They were,
It was a 2-hour show, I understand.
yeah.
So they had encapsulated that into about a 20-minute video, I believe, that they have.
Oh, I
that they're
can't
gonna
wait
show.
to see it.
Yeah.
I was there. Remember, I was sitting with
Let's see if we got a couple of comments here. I might have
Alan
missed.
Zagorski.
Oh, Mike Miller and Tom Dabrowski both says hi, John.
Oh, they owe me money.
Oh, you might.
They owe me money.
John, you want to move into my light spot? I'm so
Here.
brightly lit.
I'm going to.
That's because
Let me move
you,
the tables over
you are
here. Let me get
naturally
closer to you guys.
so
Nick,
brightly
let
lit.
me pull this over to
just
your
lit.
guys. A
Lit.
little bit kind of out of the.
See Nick.
Let me see if I can.
Okay.
Yeah, you got shoes like mine.
That's right. They've got matching shoes.
I know.
Miracle
Yeah.
or coincidence?
Try to keep that. There we go.
Yeah.
So,
And the
I've
best,
been on.
well, the best part is that Harriet's here. That's the best part for me.
Harriet.
Harriet, I saw Harriet. Oh, hello, my dear. Harriet, I saw her. One of the first people I saw here. You know, and we were talking about the whole thing before too. You know, that I was coming in from I was in New York City, and a friend of mine passed, Gilbert Godfrey.
Yep,
had
just
passed.
recently.
And
Yep.
it hit me so hard.
Oh,
and-
by the way, Tom Dabrowski says Tim Felix has the money he owes you.
Oh, yeah, good, because I'm sharing a room with Tim.
Who's the brunette in the shorts at the bar? I don't know.
I don't know. I don't know who he is.
Good taste, though.
Yeah. But you know, just coming here, good for what ails you. You know, as soon as I got here last night, my friend Doug McKenzie from New York, who was just here for a night, I see him and Tim, and it's just like, oh man, you know, all of a sudden I feel great. I slept like a
And you
baby.
kind of feel like you're home. And you're kind of like you're talking about at the
I
beginning.
am home.
It's so, well, we are, my friend.
Yeah.
That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, how's John Rose?
John Rose will hopefully be with us at Magic Live.
Okay.
John Rose lives in Moscow,
I was going to say, I know that he and his wife were.
and they got out just when they could.
Started the Ukraine.
And she's going to go back in. She's got to go back, and you know it's so complicated. You know, we're citizens of the world, and visas, and business, and whatever. But he got out safely of Russia, and got to Dubai, where I think he's going to be doing. I think his business is going to be run out of there now, and then he's staying with a friend in France. But he will, knocking on wood, be with us at Magic Live.
Good. And speaking of which, if some people are saying who's John Rose, if you missed Magic Cuba, John Rose was the partner with John Stetson who coordinated that. They were roommates in college, and they've
We
been
knew
best
each
friends.
other from when we were kids, and he was he is a great magician, and really came back to magic. A very successful business guy who's
Right.
lived in
Havana.
Russia, Russia and Havana.
Havana, both, yeah. So he was able to coordinate things apparently with businesses.
with the government.
The governments, yeah.
Quite an educational experience for all, that's for sure.
That was a non-repeatable event.
Oh,
I've
man.
had so many people said, I wish I would have gone. It's like, well, I was trying to tell you on the podcast
Yeah.
how good that convention was going to be.
It was so great. It was so
Lobster and
great.
steak every night, 2 cigars for dinner, before and after.
Oh
and
yeah, oh yeah,
I still could taste those. They're the best cigars ever.
oh yeah.
And with friends and all. So it was
Yeah.
just so much fun.
Make it so much better. Yeah.
So Trixie, you did a great job
Trixie,
there today,
man,
by the way.
What a day.
I wanted to, here, let me hand you the microphone here. for
Here,
just a
you
second.
put that on.
Let me,
Trixie, I didn't hear about Johnny Brown in your talk.
he was there.
Dirty. Yes.
Dirty Johnny?
Dirty John?
Oh, no one's watching this.
No. I was going to say dirty old man.
But then I get some inside joke.
Yeah.
This is for you, by the way,
And
there
you'd be
too.
the one.
But he was a character, wasn't he?
I had so much fun with him. When I used to come in to do the car shows, I would spend time with him. And so, isn't magic fun?
That sounds exactly like him. Isn't
Yeah,
magic
it
fun?
does.
That sounds just like him.
And he did some swell stuff too.
Well, Conan Ball, or Ball and Cone was his
Yeah,
favorite.
And remember the glass, the coins in the glass thing?
Yeah.
He would do that. I was just with David Williamson the other day, and we were talking about Johnny because I remember when Johnny showed him that, and yeah, it was kind of cool to relive.
Where'd you see David?
In New York City.
Make sure you can hear also.
I was with.
Use this back and forth.
Where was I? I went to see Mr. Saturday Night, the new Billy Crystal show,
Oh, yeah.
with Bill Hers and his wife, and
You don't live near the 36
David,
platform, do you?
because David was doing the Alex Boyce. Alex Boyce does a thing every year in his hometown
My
at some
daughter
small
just moved
theater.
from there.
Okay.
And he's had
She
some
said we run
great
that 36
acts
platform all the
working with
time.
him through the years. So David did it this year, and they had a great time. And Andy Nyman was there because Andy is appearing on Broadway now in a new show. So it was great. We just sort of hooked up, and at that table conversation, Johnny Brown and his glass came up. So. And of course, I always look at Trixie and I think of that Genie magazine with her and Alice in Wonderland and that bunny. Oh my gosh, gee. And I used to say, oh my gosh, a girl
I
did us
remember
magic.
that photograph.
You do?
Oh my, yeah, of course we do.
On the cover of Genie?
No, it was just
It should have been.
inside.
There's like somebody dressed in a rabbit costume.
Yeah,
Yeah,
your
yeah,
brother, right?
That's right.
With big glasses on.
Oh, there was
But-
one that he showed to begin
That
with.
was after 19. I think that was 1970, but 1969. It was the age of Aquarius
Ah,
with a fluorescent zombie ball and backdrops with zodiacs that were in fluorescence paint under black light.
nice.
So- But the Alice in Wonderland stuck for years.
Yep, never forget it. There are lots of things like
So
that.
you remember it? when
Oh,
she
I know
started.
nothing of any importance. I'm just a walking repository of useless information.
No,
Many of us are.
but I'm.
Another reason we get along.
That's why we get along.
But that was really. It was a interesting project putting together
Yeah,
70 years of people I have known.
it must have been.
It started off as the most depressing project I've ever worked on because all of these people are gone. And then I realized, deep into that, oh my gosh, there's nothing between me and the goalposts now. Not much.
Right.
Yeah, well,
It's a hard realization.
It is.
because
It was
I'm
like smacked me in the
realized-
face.
Yeah, I'm like,
Here, you use that.
thank you.
Very.
Hi, guys. So I'm realizing that too. I'm the adult in the room.
I used to be a young Turk. Now I'm an old geezer.
Yeah, but it's hard to come to that realization when you think you're perpetually 39.
How did you get to be 39? I'm still 29.
There you go. You're
My
gay.
kids bought me Second City when they were in Novi, Michigan. And I went there and it was so much fun. And so the first time we're there, the guy said, okay, everybody get in the line according to your age. And so I thought, okay, I got it. I went to the end of the line because there were all these young people there. Who cares? So then he asked how old everybody was, and they're going through the line. And I'm thinking, well, I'm not going to tell them how old I am. And it was Jack
Make them
Benny
guess.
that said Jack Benny was always 39. So I said 39. And this young gal looked at me like I was out of, and this was about 20 years ago.
Yeah.
And she looked at me like I was crazy. And I realized, she didn't get it. She probably never heard of Jack Benny.
well, that's a depressing story in itself. But I always subscribed to if you didn't know how old you were, how old would you be?
Oh, I like that.
I
that's a
love
good-
that
I would be.
because some days, but other days, and it's this that keeps us
Oh, yeah.
us.
Yeah.
And it's the greatest thing. It's like, once again, you're a member of the club that's gone through an awful lot lately. And
Right.
we're just so fortunate
Well, and
to be
yeah.
part of this. Whatever
that's
the
what I
heck it
said to
is.
Scott, and in my head, I'm so supportive to have so many friends.
Mm.
And the good part is you can have 8 generations sitting at a table,
Yeah,
and there is no difference.
Right.
yeah,
Right?
It does
I
not
said,
matter.
Because it's all. That's right. You're bonded by.
Absolutely.
Where's Ben Wynn?
Ben Wynn?
Ben Wynn, the young man with the magic collector. Ben.
Yes.
Oh,
How
Ben,
old is
yes.
he?
He's
Yeah.
always at the collector's corner.
Right.
Sure.
I'm
How
just
old is
saying.
he?
He's like,
12?
I was going to say 13 or something.
Yeah.
Well, good, because I guess he's going to end up with
Les,
all
you know
of
how
it.
old Ben Wynn is?
Because it's-
The young man who's on the collector's corner.
How old,
Ben.
how old is he?
How
You
old is
have any
Ben Wynn?
You remember what I'm talking about?
No, we're
He won a contest. I think he
Yes.
always had something to share and contribute.
Yes, and
Every
he's
week.
he's good friends with
Sorry.
Adele.
The point was,
I was going to
Ah.
say,
And
he's
he's
Adele.
13 or so.
So that would, he would be in
And
Pittsburgh
he helps her
or
check,
Philadelphia?
you know,
something?
computer wise.
And Adele is what?
Close to 90.
No, she's over. She's 92, I believe.
Is she?
Okay, so
91 or
Is
90.
he's a Long Beach mystic.
Yes, he is.
Yeah.
Here.
Here.
No. How old is Adele?
Isn't she
I'm
91
sorry,
or
what?
92?
How old is Adele? Is Adele freer?
92.
Who?
Adele.
Oh,
Blackstone's
come on.
I think, yeah, she's 91 or 92.
Oh, George
yeah.
Schindler's 93. Just had a
Yes,
birthday.
Yeah.
George.
Yeah.
I adore
You guys
George.
would know that. I'm
I'll
not
tell him
that
you said
old.
that.
He knows it.
Ask me about my friend. You want to know how old Mike Caveney is? I can tell you. I can tell. I mean, I can
How
tell you
old
how.
is Ben? That's on the collectors, the young boy.
He doesn't know.
Oh, you don't know.
No, no, I can tell you how old Kate Blackstone is, but I'm not going to.
Oh.
39. She already told us.
I can say. I can say this. We were youngsters,
We were youngsters together.
and I can say this. She's younger than I am.
Younger than Spring.
How am I doing, Gay?
You're doing very well. We
Okay.
really, what do you want to drink? It's like, yeah, what
Quickly.
There you have it. Is there anything about the Mystics in Long Beach or LA area? I can tell you, but you're at.
Tell us how you got started dancing.
I got bored with magic, and I figured by the time I was in my 50s doing magic, they didn't want any old ball-headed guys. I kind of got it, and I stopped trying to book magic shows. And our neighbor across the street gave us some dance lessons for Christmas, and my wife and I took it up. And then she got bored about 5 years ago, but I keep on. I don't. It's something to think about. You're
No, it's
trying to do the steps and all that. So yeah, it's of interest. That's how we did it.
That's good.
I
I will.
know bald magicians who bill themselves as the only topless magician in town.
Why don't you go to Bobby Baxter?
Well, I wasn't Bobby Baxter.
I know, but the Bobby Baxter opening.
Oh, whoa,
Oh, there's real
gosh. What? Which
Okay.
line of my brain?
I'll jump in. I'll
Jump
in.
in, John.
Bobby Baxter. This was back in the 50s. Would introduced. He's in a club in the village. He'd stand up on a chair and say, "I am not a communist," which kind of quieted the room down a little bit. However, if I see someone, my mother told me, if I see someone who needs something I have more than I do, I shouldn't loan it to him. I should give it to him. He'd take off his wig, he'd put it on a guy up front and say, "Here, sir, that's for you."
He'd also do the gag where he'd walk in the audience, he goes, I can't see. And there's a bald guy there, and he'd go like, "I get too much reflection." And he'd pull his toupee off and put it on there. That's better.
That's funny.
We're such great fans of Bobby Baxter, and his Baxterisms are just legendary. And he, again, another guy who, how old was Bobby when he died?
In his 80s.
In his 80s.
Do
But he had a
macrobiotic stuff and hang upside down, do calisthenics
Yeah,
and stuff.
yeah. But he was with us for so long, and he told.
So I need to get that
He was.
done in the next.
Stock lines had to start somewhere, and a lot of them started with Bobby Baxter. And we've both been around Bobby when he'd been in a room and someone would be using one of his.
Lines. There was one time Todd
He
Robbins
didn't
and I
like
were
that, I
in the
guess.
green room at Monday Night Magic.
I was
Yeah.
there.
We're sitting there talking. I was like, wait. Because the opening act was doing Bobby's
Bobby's
act.
little boy at home. The little
Timmy.
the Timmy,
Which
the little
may have
boy
been
at home.
Someone else's thing.
I
originally, but
think that was
yeah,
Bobby's.
he'd done it so long. But we were going like, what are we going to do? And Bobby always would show up at the last minute.
Yeah.
He wasn't like Frank Grentz. Frank would show up like 3 days before the gig and just wait patiently.
Oh, Bobby.
But he always
Bobby
had the
was
same act for like decades, so you would think.
Baxter?
No, I'm talking about
Frank?
Frank.
Yeah, Frank had the same act.
Yeah.
But
Bobby.
was great
Yeah.
at improvising. He
Yeah.
always told everybody, all the young guys, you got to take improvisation courses. You got to do that.
Yeah.
Because he could come up. But that time, it was like he finally showed up, and I think, was it you or Todd who told him that guy just did your act?
Todd told him. I was terrified. But yeah. Oh my, that was.
When the guy at the end of the night, Bobby went to the guy, where'd you get that act? I stole it from somebody in St. Louis.
Yeah, that guy was from St.
Louis. I got it from somebody in St. Louis. Well, where'd he get it from? I don't know. I took it from him. Bobby goes, you stole it from a guy who 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 stole it from me.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. And Bobby, I mean, a lot of stuff like he was so good. He was so good. But yet another one of these guys who we would say who was alive, because any day the phone would ring. Any day the phone could ring with something. You know, we were I was with Roger Dreyer a few weeks ago, and he's become rather friendly with Kreskin as of late. And watching Kreskin's show was remarkable for so many reasons. He's 87 now. And there would be some people who would say maybe he shouldn't be working. He wouldn't be here with us on Monday if he stopped working today.
It's meat and drink for these
It
guys.
keeps them alive.
Yeah, it would.
So
Does.
many magicians.
By the way,
And musicians too.
Doug Edwards had just made a comment over here. He said Bobby Baxter would take off his wig and then put his head next to another bald guy, and then say to the audience, "We just made an ass of ourselves."
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, he
He had
would.
a lot of material. So when somebody would do his stuff, he had something else to do. He
Yeah.
wasn't stuck.
And he's one of these real life guys. But being close with, I mean, the Ed Sullivan Show, right? Didn't he?
Yes, he was when it was still the toast of the town.
Hmm.
Bobby was one of the first magicians on there, and the way he told it to me was that the act that was supposed to come on after him was a 3-girl singing act, and one of the girls passed out. So the stage manager is like off screen, going like this, which means stretching, stretching, and he did. And I don't know if I should tell the rest of the story.
Well, why not?
Sure.
You're already into it now.
Yeah.
Well, there used to be
Everybody's
this
dead.
place-
It's okay.
Right. Well, my wife says I should leave some of the dead people alone because I'm working on something right now that maybe get me in trouble on something else. But they really dug the fact that here was a guy who could improvise and we needed more time.
Right.
So the way I understood it, there was a drugstore kind of place where all the acts used to hang out. And Ed Sullivan came in looking for Bobby. And he offered him the summer replacement gig for the Ed Sullivan Show.
Wow.
And Bobby, though, was a man who, throughout his career, would shoot himself in the foot.
Straight out of the movies.
Bobby, when Mr. Sullivan, in front of these other people, asked for the summer replacement, makes a smart aleck comment. You're going to have to pay me more than the $1 you paid me the last time I was on your show. Mr. Sullivan scowled and turned around and walked out. Bobby later told me what I should have done was knelt down and kissed his ring.
Yeah.
What it was Bobby was afraid he didn't have enough material. Bobby didn't realize that all the radio comics, all the TV comics had a stable of writers. When I was working lighting on Spin City, the Michael J. Fox show, there were 16 writers at a time. So
Wow.
Bobby, when Sullivan asked him to do it, he got scared. And Bobby was great, but he would get scared sometimes. There was other shows I was on with him where he forced them to make him the second to closing act, even though he was the featured person. Now in vaudeville, second to closing
And
was the
ultimate,
best
yeah.
spot. Was the best spot.
Why was that?
Second to closing?
Yeah, why?
Because the closing act, everybody's leaving and going home.
It'd be a big musical number.
Okay.
At one point.
Oh,
So
okay.
Going on.
Yeah, you don't want to
and
open.
ultimate. You don't
and you don't
want
want
to
to
open. You don't want to
close.
close.
I'm going to give you a great Jay Marshall story. When Vegas started having acts, Jay opened for Frank Sinatra. Just 2 acts on the bill, Jay Marshall and Frank Sinatra. And afterwards, someone was trying to rib Jay and say, "So, Jay, what does it feel like to open?" He says, "I didn't open. I was next to closing." In vaudeville, it meant a lot more. Today, though, when people stage shows,
wouldn't
they
get it.
usually have the feature headline act as the final thing.
Right.
But in the old days, you didn't want to be last. And sometimes Bobby would say, "I want to be on earlier because I don't want people leaving while I'm working." Not because he's bad, but it's just they got to catch that train out of Penn
Right.
Station.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
He knew that.
I guess it's the same way like in the West End, and because the subways, I mean, the tubes close at an early hour, so you got to get out of there. Interesting.
Well, it's also interesting that sort when Jay was appearing in 2 Broadway shows at the same time,
Really?
right?
You had to go over to the other one?
Yeah, I mean, it was okay. What was the song? He was doing the song in half with Nanette Fabre.
Ray, I forget what that
And
was
then-
called. And they had the thing where he was a ghostly butler who played the bagpipes.
Yeah.
That's a great story, too.
Yeah,
What was that story?
yeah.
So Sandy should be telling these stories, though.
Yeah.
So when Jay was in New York, there was a cattle call, a casting call.
Okay.
And they said, "Boy, you'd be really good for this role." Because Jay had that whole Anglophile thing. And the role was a ghostly butler. They said, "Boy, you'd be great for this." Problem is, the character's got to play the bagpipes. Jay's response was, "Play the bagpipes? I teach bagpipes." He'd never played a bagpipe in his life.
Of course.
He got the gig, went home, learned how to play the bagpipes. Later on, he was the only member of Musicians Local 802 in New York who was a bagpipe player.
Wow. Okay.
End up teaching bagpipes?
No. You know, a lot of actors and actresses, their agents tell them, when you go audition, if they ask you to do something,
yes.
you say yes. Can you ride a horse? I can ride a horse. Can you
Hey, David Rangel. Hello.
I can do all that. Unfortunately, that's a bad thing. I was once on a McDonald's commercial, and the actress had told she could operate a standard shift, not an automatic. Yeah, well, she couldn't. She couldn't, and she ran over the assistant director.
Oh my goodness.
Not good.
Not good. So that's a case where you really should own up to your inability to operate heavy machinery.
Interesting.
It goes.
Oh, we've got some other good
Yeah, get some other folks.
presentations.
I'm going to drag this guy away because I haven't seen John in a hog's age, and
Okay.
I'm really looking forward to catching up.
Oh, yeah.
But thank you for inviting
Thanks,
us to
Richard.
participate,
And thanks for the
Scott.
book also.
Enjoy.
I'm looking forward to that.
I think you'll have fun
Yeah.
with it.
Brooklyn Magicians. Yeah. All right.
But coming back, what?
To Colin to have us get together.
I don't know if I'm going to be there.
Great shit.
I'm
Yeah,
going
good for Colin.
That's what they say.
That sticker.
Yeah.
I don't know. I'm going to FISM.
We'll see you in Quebec.
Good.
Yeah, we're all going to Quebec.
Going to FISM. I'm going to go to Magic Live. Yeah.
Yeah, well, we'll see there.
And that's what I know right now. So.
Well, Cole's not interfere. It's right after.
I know. But we're
Okay. Yes, you know. Okay,
Don't
good.
take that.
Go watch it here.
Thank you, Scott.
Thank you, Richard.
Yes.
Thank you, John. I'm glad you guys joined us. You made happy hour happy.
Ah.
That's our job.
All right.
All right.
Thanks, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.
So, back to Gay and Harriet. So, how are things with BJW?
Oh, I haven't even had time to breathe. I thought it would be slow, but sales have just
Constant?
been booming.
I haven't even had a chance to come see your booth.
It's amazing. I've been pleasantly surprised.
It's been pretty steady, huh?
Yeah.
You think you brought enough product?
Oh, I know I brought enough product,
Okay.
but one of the purses I sold, I could have had another couple because they weren't really
Yeah.
heavy, and I'm a little sad that I didn't bring more of that. But I'm not perfect.
I think Bill said there were about 17 dealers here.
Oh wow! So I don't know how anybody else is doing, but
You're doing okay.
we're doing okay. But our things are are non-compete.
So, a question to you, Dick,
Yes.
about what you have enjoyed so far. We've got Dick Olson then
Here, Dick.
as well over here. So, as far as you had Trixie's presentation, of course, and just because she's here, you don't
Well,
have to. But
Well, Trixie's was obviously the highlight.
yeah,
Second to that, though, was going to Esther's Follies last night and
Seeing
seeing
Ray
Ray Anderson. And we had just seen it, what, 4 months ago, 3 months ago?
It wasn't that long, was it?
No, it was recent. And it's a whole new show, with the exception of maybe 2 or 3 acts.
Right. Oh, yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Brand new material, all politically current.
I'm amazed they can do that.
The whole show is amazing. I mean, it wasn't what I was expecting. I was expecting a great magic show, but I was not expecting all the comedy elements and the fact that it was such a SNL scenario that encases it. You know, and I mean, everything it's modern. It's right there. It's right on. It's so current that
so fresh yet his magic was classic.
Yes.
Yeah, very much so.
He's giving me the chocolate chip recipe for my magic cookbook for the American Museum of Magic.
Oh my gosh, when are those due, Harriet?
Yeah.
Last month.
Yes. No. They were due last month, but I'm going to be home finally, probably for 3 weeks, and I'm going to.
You are not
contact
leaving.
everybody.
You are not
No.
leaving until you get my recipes.
Right, and Scott too. I'm going to video him or something Sunday, and I'm going to make him help me get the link to all of you out there that have promised me recipes, but I don't have them.
So they can get a hold of you by
Yeah.
your email.
Yeah, well, it's a link where my son did tells you everything you need to give me, and boy, do I need a picture of you cooking.
Okay.
Of you with
We're
the
going to do that at
recipe.
your house.
So we can do his
On
and
Sunday?
yours.
You're leaving
Well,
Tuesday now, so we'll do
Yes,
it Monday.
we can do it Monday.
Okay.
I was always leaving Tuesday. I could have left Monday, but
All right.
Great. Well, listen, this has been happy hour, and this has kept us happy. And thank you guys very much. I'm glad that you could join us for this time. We got that's right. We finally got the bar open. It was a little bit late. Jody Robbins, that's here. What'd you say, Max? Said, oh boy, these glasses are not that good.
you heard that.
I've been asked to do a blackjack for Russell Crowe, and it's really in his serious poker face. Ah, cool. Dave McGee, I should order a pretzel. Order a pretzel? Thank you. You look great too. David Hinkins says hello, everybody. David. So listen, we're going to end this broadcast, and thank you guys again very much for tuning in. I'm glad that you hung with us, and also it's kind of getting this back. We're not getting the band back together. We were doing that just during COVID, and then occasionally doing this whenever we get together at a convention or something. So I'm glad that you took some time of yours to join us here in Austin. We're at the Sheraton downtown, and been having a great time. The convention's been going good. I want to remind everybody, just you can go to the magicwordpodcast.com where you can keep up to date with daily updates and convention reports where I'm going around and talking with everybody and just having a great time. So until next time, Scotty out. Cheers. Need to go get another martini. Thank you again, Fred, for the martini. Appreciate that. You're welcome, Max. We'll see you.
At enchilada.
I just they don't evangelize.
I know, but it sounds so.
But even this flat iron steak sandwich sounds good.